Welcome everybody to another awesome Overrated review with the best, most, greatest casual reviews you'll ever get, where I just show some gameplay, talk about the game, give it a score, and I send you on your way. It's simple, it's easy. I hope y'all feeling fresh out there. Let's jump into this now. And yes, I did record during a Splatfest because that is one of the first things I want to talk about in this game. Splatoon 2 has these things called Splatfest. If you're unaware, it's basically these timed events that happen once a month or two or so, and they have special themes, and basically everybody that plays this game during that time has to choose. You can represent one side or you can represent the other side, and then you brutally murder each other time and time again until one becomes the winner. It's good, wholesome fun for all the kids. No, really, all jokes aside, when I say brutally murder, it's really not that brutal. This game is definitely appropriate for kids of all ages, and the gameplay overall is really fun. I really enjoy that, and I'll show that here in a little bit. But I just wanted to say there is only one thing that really matters in this game when you play it, and that is squid planking. And if you don't know what squid planking is, well, you're about to find out, baby. Bam! Yeah, that's right. Squid planking. The new greatest thing you could ever do in Splatoon 2. You're welcome. So Splatoon 2 is a third-person shooter where you move around and you shoot things. And it's has some different concepts that are very different compared to most shooters. One of the things are motion controls, and the motion controls are awesome. It is the best way to play this game by a long shot. But one thing I also want to point out is that if you're wondering if there is a good amount of weapon variety to this game, yeah, there is not only a good amount of weapon variety, there is a great amount of weapon variety. And not only that, I would just want to say, and this is kind of sad that I have to say this is a good thing and I even have to mention it, but Splatoon 2 has absolutely no microtransactions. There's no buying your way to acquiring any weapon you want. There's no buying your way to getting any of the upgrades you want. None of that stuff exists on here. It is all free or earned based on the in-game currency, and it is wonderful because Nintendo has been supporting this game now for almost 2 years straight, and I absolutely love that. So thank you, Nintendo, for not selling out, because this is a game that could have easily done that. And when it comes to the core gameplay, man, that core gameplay is so ridiculously fun. And the main mode that you play is basically just the standard splat mode, where you have to ink not just your enemies, but the actual ground. As you see here on the screen, you shoot the ground, you can shoot walls, you have to cover it. And at the end of the 3 minutes that are up, the person or team with the most ink covered on the ground, most percentage, is the winner. So kills are not necessarily the most important thing. Completing the objective and covering the ground is actually the most important thing. It's very different from any normal shooter, and I absolutely love it. It is addictingly fun. The rounds are quick, so it's easy to jump back in. Online connectivity issues are very rare. I don't have any problems with that. And I'm actually happy to report this too, that if you intentionally rage quit a lot, Nintendo will temporarily ban you, because I absolutely hate that, because that can ruin the experience. So they have a good solution there. It's a lot of fun. Not only that though, there are ranked modes that you can do that have different objectives, and I'm not going to show you those because this is during a Splatfest, and you actually, I found out, can't play the ranked modes during a Splatfest. But just know that they just have a different set of rules. But ultimately, the core gameplay is still the same, and it is a lot of fun. It is just the best thing about Splatoon 2 by far. Now, there are some negatives to this game, and one of the big ones for me is the efficiency of the game. And I'm not talking online connectivity or anything like that, because I already mentioned that. I'm talking the way they present and the way they have a few things that go on. Now, there's no other way to explain this other than to say, meet Sheldon. Sheldon here does not shut up. Sheldon here will always talk about every single new weapon that you ever acquire in this game, and since there are a lot of new weapons that you acquire in the game, Sheldon likes to talk a lot, and when he just talks, he just rambles, all of a sudden he just keeps going. Yes, you can tell him to hurry up, but he just won't stop talking, and so when you have a bunch of new weapons, you have to just listen to him, and he just jabbers on, blah, blah, blah. Did that make sense? You see this on the screen? This is annoying. There's no just skip option, and that's not just for this, it's for any of these things. For example, every time you load up Splatoon 2, you have to listen to Pearl and Marina, those two ladies you saw dancing at the beginning of the game, and they tell you about the stages and what's going on, if there's any new updates. And while it's fun, sometimes, yes, I like to listen to them, sometimes I just want them to shut up. And unfortunately, there's no skip option there, so every single time you reload up the game, you have to listen to them, and every single time there are new weapons, you have to listen to Sheldon, and it's just infuriating. I don't know why this is still in here. They should have just had a skip option. But thankfully, that is few and far between, and like I said, for the most part, there are some really great things about this game. Another option for you, if you're not into just shooting and killing each other brutally, as I like to joke about, you can play this thing called Salmon Run. And Salmon Run's a lot of fun, where you team up and you work together as a group to collect eggs, and it's questionably whether or not you're the good guys here, but hey, you get paid to do it, so you do it anyways. It's basically a horde mode, but once again, it's a really fast, simple horde mode that doesn't take too long to get into. You're not spending a lot of time doing it, and it's actually really fun, really addicting, and you have to work really well with your team. Now, there is one thing that a lot of people hate about Splatoon 2, and that is the chat system in this game. And it's not so much Splatoon 2's fault as it is Nintendo's fault, because Nintendo has never implemented their own chat system into any game. And so they tried to supplement it with doing this ridiculous way where you have to use a cell phone and plug it in, and all these cords have to be around, and your phone always has to be on. It's terrible. I mean, it's just the worst. But, you know, they tried to, so in case you wanted to play this game and you didn't want to go through the embarrassingly terrible chat system that Nintendo came up for Splatoon 2, you have these icons on the bottom that basically say this way, booyah, and if you die, you can say, hey, help me out. It's not the best, and I wish Nintendo would just figure this out, that it's 2019 now, it's not 2003, but it is what it is. And once you have successfully, hopefully, completed all 3 waves in Salmon Run, you and your teammates can celebrate by taking a dunk in poisonous water. It's a very good time. And then let's talk about the campaign now. Now, the campaign is very interesting because back on the Wii U, when the original Splatoon came out, this was a really new concept and idea that was presented. So the campaign was more like a tutorial. And that worked because you didn't know what you were getting into. But for a lot of people that owned the Wii U Splatoon game, when Splatoon 2 came out, they played the campaign and they had a big gripe. It was basically, once again, a glorified tutorial where it introduces you to a bunch of weapons and then you just go through and do the levels. The levels are fine, though. I think they're really fun in design and execution. They're not the most challenging. And to be fair, it does actually explain very well what each weapon is and how it works, and it does get you familiar with it. So on one hand, I get it. If you played the original like I did on the Wii U, you probably aren't going to be too interested in playing this campaign just because it does feel more tutorial-esque than it does like a fully fleshed out campaign. But on the flip side, there just weren't a lot of people that played the original Splatoon game, so it's kind of a mix and mash. I did enjoy the campaign, and the reason why I enjoyed the campaign, though, was because of these boss fights. I mean, just look at this intro. If there's one thing the campaign has going for it, it is definitely the boss fights. They are a lot of fun, even if they're not the most challenging. They are very, very creative and an absolute blast to play. And if there's one thing that I just want to point out that I love about Splatoon 2, it is the fact that there's always something to work towards. You can level up your character, and as you level him up, you'll acquire a lot more items, like I said. And every single item or piece of clothing that you have, you can change its customizations. You have little mini boosts that you can add to help increase your character's stats and a few things. There are collectibles in the campaign. There's always something to work towards in Splatoon 2. You can never have enough items to collect, and it's really, really nice. Alright guys, so let's go ahead now and wrap this up, and I want to now give this game a score, and I give letter grades as my score, because that's just the way I am. A being the best, F being the worst, and Splatoon 2, despite all of its little minor issues, is an absolute joy and one of the best games you can play on the Nintendo Switch. So with everything in mind, guys, I give Splatoon 2 an A-. And I give it the A- because there's just always something you can do. I love the core gameplay. I love the Splatfest. I did enjoy most of the campaign, even though, yes, it does feel like a tutorial. And there are some minor things like Sheldon never stopping his incessant rambling. And there's a few other little minor details that could be improved upon. But ultimately, Splatoon 2 is an absolute blast to play. I highly recommend it. It's just a very good time. Well, that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to this channel, and always remember that squid planking is the way to go. I am Bradley Overrated, guys, out like a trout, and I will see you next time. Take care.